What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Today, we are going to be talking about tuning and setting up your vehicle for the rally that you're going to be participating in. We're going to be doing all different surfaces. I thought we would start off with Sweden and the snow, one of the more difficult ones for tuning. So, let's get started here. Alright, so I'm going to be showing you guys the four most important ones that I deal with when I tune, and then later on videos I'll do a little bit more of an advanced tuning video, and I will include alignment and damping. But for today, we're going to be talking about brakes, differential, gearing, and springs. So, for starting off, brakes, brake force is pretty self-explanatory. Brake force just controls how much the brakes will brake, the force of it braking. So the lower the braking force, the less amount. It's going to be a lot harder to slow down the vehicle because it's got a lot more weight and you have less braking force. So it's going to take a lot longer to slow down the vehicle. Brake force, if you put it too high, it'll slow down the vehicle, but it'll cause the wheels to lock up and it'll understeer and you'll just go straight through the turn. So you have to find the happy medium between both of them. Brake bias. So brake bias controls. So right now it's set a little bit more to the front, allowing it. So when the car will brake, if you have it more to the front, front brake bias, the car will pivot down, and the rear end won't swing around too much. But if you have brake bias a little bit to the rear, you brake, that rear end will come around. And the pros and the cons of that. The pros are if you're going into a tight technical section, slamming on that foot brake and pivoting with that foot brake will allow that rear end to come around, getting that momentum to get around turns faster. But if you're going off on a high speed straight and you need to brake hard for, say, a right one or a hairpin left, the car will be unstable and could possibly come completely out if you're not ready for it. So you have to be careful when you come to brake bias. So for Sweden, I like the brake force to be, the default. It'll be fine. Brake bias, we're gonna keep it at default today. I think it'll be just fine for Sweden. We don't want it too much because Sweden can be quick and very fast with very unforgiving. So let's head to the differential, guys. So I'm not a mechanic, I'm not an engineer, but I will tell you guys my interpretation of what these things do for the car and to break it down for everyone. So for the driving lock, guys, the driving lock for the front or rear. So if you have the front driving lock open, it's going to keep the wheels from spinning. So the differential controls the amount of speed the wheels are spinning. So if you have a completely locked differential, those wheels are just going to spin. Great for drifting. Great for controlling the vehicle if if you're really good with feathering the gas. But if you have it having an open differential is great when bad conditions like rain, snow. It keeps the wheels from spinning too much and allows it to bite in a little bit more. So, but you have to approach turns a little bit differently. So for today, we're going to open it by 2. Braking lock. Actually, we're going to bring it up by 1. So braking lock. I prefer to have my braking lock almost completely locked, but not too much. Having a high braking lock will having the higher the amount is, the more susceptible it is to have understeer going into the turns. Now you'll have more traction, but the understeer will be pretty bad. So I'm going to show you guys in a little bit on how to combat that understeer, but still be able to have a high lock percentage. And the reason is the high lock percentage helps you really slow down quicker, and it really does. So I'll show you guys how to do it. I pump the brakes to keep it from understeering a little bit too much, and I'll show you guys how to get out of it. So the preload helps really well with mid-corner turning. You let off the gas. The differentials will apply torque and allowing it to turn in a little bit more when you let off the gas. So that's great. So I like to have mine low and at like 10 nanometers is around here. Yeah, I like to have everything uniformed, guys. So what I mean by that, if you do it to the front, do it to the rear. It depends. Also, the differential is a little more different because yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So the differential rear driving lock. So if you have the rear driving lock a little bit more locked than the front, it's gonna act more of a have more tendencies of a rear-wheel drive car because it's pushing more from the back, and it's pulling so much from the front. So it'll kind of give that rear-wheel drive feel, allowing you to get around those turns a little bit better. All right, so we talked about, the driving lock to front, the driving lock at the front and the rear. If you have it locked in the front and open in the rear, it's gonna feel like a front-wheel drive car. It's gonna be pulling more than pushing. If you have it, and vice versa, it'll be more pushing than pulling. So, you kind of want to have the happy medium. I prefer to have my rear driving lock a little bit more locked than the front, especially in the snow, so I can get that rear end to come around and get me around those turns a little bit better. All right, so gearing. Gearing is important, guys, because it controls your gear ratios, and really it controls on how fast you can go. So for snow, we know Sweden can be fast, and we need to be able to have long enough gear so we don't sit there and hit our limiter and lose out on the speed that we could have gotten. So I like to have mine a little bit elongated, as you guys can see here. This is how they were before I adjusted them. We'll put them back in default. Alright, so this is how it was default. Man, if you hit those top speeds, you're gonna sit there and rev limit out, and you're not gonna get enough speed. So what I like to do is I like to extend my gear ratios out a little bit more, allowing me to hit higher speeds and allow me to pull through the turns a little bit better. And doing so, while we're elongating them, we're going to want to mess with the final drive, because the final drive controls how much acceleration and how much long drive. So if you have a long final drive, that means you're going to be able to hit higher speeds, but acceleration's not going to be there. You're not going to have much acceleration. But if you have too short of a final drive, you're going to have too much acceleration and not much of a top speed. So you kind of have to find that happy medium. But since we elongated those gear ratio, guys, we're going to drop this final drive down by pretty much around this area to give us acceleration, but still be able to hit those those high speeds because we elongated the gear ratio. So it's a little difficult. If you guys have any more questions, please leave a comment in the comment section. I will do the best I can to explain it. Alright, so like I said, we're not talking about damping or alignment as for other videos, for advanced videos. We got ride height, spring rate, anti-roll bar, front and rear. Ride height, pretty self-explanatory, controls the height of the vehicle as it travels. Having a high ride height is great for rough terrain like Finland, Argentina, Wales. It's great, so it gives you clearance to get around the turns so you don't bottom out and destroy your car. And it helps you get around turns a little bit more. But having a low ride height is great for tarmac, but it's horrible for rough terrain. So you want to find the happy medium. We're gonna bump it up by 1 in the front and the rear for Sweden. And the spring rate, we're gonna soften it by 1 on the front and the rear, and we should be pretty good with that. Tires, snow tires, of course. So, all right, guys, here we go. We just did a quick tune. Car feels okay. We hope it feels okay. The tune looks okay. That's what I meant. And so we should be decent here. Let's see how it works. And yeah, here we go.
5, 4, 3,
2, 1, go.
80, 6 right long, 100, keep right of a jump,
Alrighty.
into flat left, 70, 6 right of a double crest, 80,
Good straightaway here.
6 left long,
Double
of a
crest.
bumps, tightens 4 of a crest, 60, turn, 4 right, tightens 3, keep left of a 80. 6 right of a crest.
So we're gonna want to
50,
we're gonna want to extend the gear ratios a little bit more. We were rev limiting it out there,
into 6 right
and we don't want
long,
that. We're about to hit it again, so we're gonna extend those gears.
Right of a jump maybe. Into 5 left of a jump crest. Opens extra long. Into caution. 5 right of a crest. Tightens. Into 3 left long.
Car doesn't
Tightens.
feel too bad.
And short 4 right.
Very responsive. It's just those gears. We're gonna extend them a little bit
Into
more.
6 right.
to get more of the top speed, but the car feels pretty solid. Differential feels great.
60.
Doing exactly what I wanted to do.
120.
Fantastic.
Right long. Into turn. Tight 4 left tightens.
Tight 4 left. You see how I was going through that turn, I was hitting those brakes.
60.
Trying to get that brake bias and swing that rear end around, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Times 2. Pumping those brakes to keep that understeer from happening with the braking lock in the differential.
80. Caution.
Let's see how the preload works.
70 over bumps. 6 right.
Preload is working great. Let off the gas there, really turned in there.
Into 6 left of a jump.
Feeling great. So this all finding the right amount of setting for each one, guys, is just critical. Play around with it. Don't just, take what this works for me. It may not work for you, but just mess around with it. Play with it. Have any questions? Let me know, and I'll do the best I can to help you guys.
60 of a finish. 150 to stop. Well done.
Boom. All right, look at that, guys. We just had to mess with the gear. Well, we just had to mess with the gear ratio a little bit right there, and I think it will be pretty good. We just need to elongate 4th and 5th gear. It's too easy. We just go right here, gearing. Let's elongate 3rd gear a little bit, 2nd gear a little bit, 4th gear a lot, 5th gear. That should be good, and let's drop that down. And that should be good. So that's pretty much basic, guys, on how to tune in Sweden. That's how I tune it. We can run it again. We'll run it again. We'll see how much faster. 224 right now is the best. Let's see how well we can do on this one. Now that we have the gears messed around with. All right, here we go.
80, 6 right long, 100, keep right of a jump.
6 right long, 100, into 5 left.
6 right of a double crest.
Gears are feeling better. We're hitting higher speeds now. We're not hitting the rev limiter.
60, turn 4 right, tightens 3. Keep left of 80.
Pumping those brakes.
6 right of a crest.
You hear me pumping those brakes as I'm giving a little bit of acceleration, forcing that engine to slow me down.
6 left of a crest, into 6 right long, 100.
Car's feeling fantastic, guys. Look at this.
Jump, baby. Into 5 left of
Let off the gas. Preload works really well there.
Into caution.
We're just staying in 5th gear and just cruising through here.
Into 3 left long, tightens. And short 4 right. To middle of a jump. Into 5 left.
Yeah, the car is feeling great, guys. I mean, we just did a quick tune. Now, this isn't a perfect tune, because you're going to have to play around with it a little bit, but it works. Look at this. It's killing it here.
120. 5 right long.
We were 1.3 seconds ahead
Tight 4 left tightens.
from when all we had to do is just adjust the gear ratios just a little bit more.
50. 6 right. 60. Keep middle of a crest over
The
80.
braking lock is
Caution.
working great in
Left of a
the
crest,
differential,
2.
guys. I am slowing down quickly, but not too much understeer to where I can't control the car.
50 over crest.
Have that.
6 right.
There we go. See, look at that, guys.
Caution. 4 left. Keep in of a crest. 70 over bumps. 6 right.
Oop.
60.
That was my fault there.
Extra long. Into 6 left over jumps. And 6 right. Extra long. 60. Flat right. Into flat left.
Yeah, look at the car is just
Bumps
going
into
over all
5
these
right,
bumps nice
opens
and easy.
Extra long. End of a crest. To keep middle of a bumps.
Keep it over
80.
bumps.
5 left. To keep middle of a crest. 60 of a finish. 150 to stop.
Yeah, look at that there, guys. 4 seconds faster, guys. Just about 4.3 seconds faster than we just did our last run. And all we had to do is just adjust those gear ratios. Do you see how big and how important that be? Look at that. First split, almost a second faster. Almost a second faster. almost a second fast, just over a second faster, and just over a second faster. So we were a whole second faster in each split, guys. Just adjusting the gear ratios just a little bit. So, all right, guys. So, hey, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like, follow. Let me know what you guys need help with, and I will be making these videos, guys. Let me know what you think of the video and how if I need to add more detail with the tuning, and let me know if it helped you guys. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'm look forward to making the next video for you guys. All right, later, guys.